Hi, everybody. Welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Tommy, and once again, I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Angel.
Hi.
We're back for Port Charles, Tainted Love. This week, we're talking about week 2. So I'll roll the credits, and we'll get right into it. I'm always nervous I'm going to play the wrong credits. Like, I hope that's the right one.
Oh no, I'm suddenly Lynn, and we're doing the
The Abby scale.
yeah.
So we opened the week. Chris is now hiring his private investigator to find Jack.
Mm-hmm.
And because he used him for something else, didn't he? Livy, right? To find out things on Livy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I thought he looked familiar.
Yeah.
Sam is hanging around the hospital trying to find out if Jack is really dead.
Mm-hmm.
And Livy is hanging out by the water again, thinking about Jack. And I think last we left off, we saw Caleb like kind of lurking and staring at her. But she actually turns and sees him, and they kind of lock eyes. Lucy and Kevin heard Allison screaming because she was trying to get Jack's blood out of a cloth, I think.
It goes off her hand.
And then it was on her hand, and she just started freaking out and screaming. So they go running to her. And she lies and says like she like cut herself and she like got scared. And then she's like, "Oh, it's just a little cut. Look, no more, not bleeding anymore." Like, Livy, I think she asks who he is. I think she actually speaks to Caleb, but he doesn't speak to her, and he just kind of backs away and like disappears. Livy goes back to the bike shop, and she kind of intervenes with them questioning Allison and Jamal about Jack. And she says, the truth is he got caught stealing from the business, so Jamal had to let him go. And that's why he left town. Lucy this week was kind of how she was in Time and a Bottle. She was kind of peripheral. Mm-hmm. But I also think it's because she may have been doing double time for the nurses' ball.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah. Forgot about that. Anyway. Forgot that she would have been on GH at that point.
There were ads in between on some of these episodes for like a nurses' ball T-shirt, and I was like, I want one, even though it's 2001.
I want one too.
22 years later.
It's the last one too, so.
I was like, I wonder if I go on the website or call the number or whatever it was, I could still get one.
Ooh, maybe they're on eBay.
Probably, and they're probably like triple the price.
Yeah, eBay.
Livy ends up staying at Lucy's. Wait. Lucy was living with her grandmother, wasn't she?
You mean Livy?
Yeah.
They mentioned that they went on a cruise. That she went on a cruise with the guy. Remember the guy that Livy thought she was talking to, and then they walked in on them together.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so she mentioned in passing that she went on a cruise with him, and
so it's like Doug and Julie. She just went on a cruise and never came back.
Yeah. Doug and
Julie. Caleb lurks outside her window and says, "This time he'll be patient, Olivia."
And then he scratches his hands on the side of the window, which is a nice touch.
I like the touch of people calling other characters by their full name, like Joseph.
Olivia.
Like I always liked when Stefano would call Sammy Samantha, or EJ would call her Samantha instead of Sammy. I don't know. I think it's
that. I feel like earlier in the series, like we knew like Frank and Joe's like full names. It was Frank. I forgot his middle name. I forgot his middle name. I know for Joseph, it's Joseph Parnell.
Parnell.
Parnell. And I think of Chris Parnell, and I'm like, that's how I remember it.
Uh-huh.
But Francis Xavier Scanlon, Joseph Parnell Scanlon. That's who it is.
Frank and Karen are at the recovery room, the bar, not the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And Joseph shows up with Gabby, and they kind of have like a double date. I don't know if that was planned. Were they meeting them? Or
I think they just came in and yeah. I think they just came in and I was like,
before they showed up, Frank was like giving Karen books about time travel and like
the time travelers.
And I'm like, okay, this is corny. Stop.
Please stop. We're in a whole different arc now. But I thought they were gonna set up that like Joe and Gab, we're gonna find out that Karen disappeared and went back and Joe and Frank went back in time, and
yeah,
they never did.
They talked about it more than I thought, and I've said this before. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention because Frank and Karen weren't really characters that I cared about back in the day. I was just like, whatever, get back to Livy and Jack. So like I'm noticing things now, and like the Ariana talk, and I'm just like, wow, she just will not leave, even though she's not on the show anymore. They just keep talking about her.
just go. It's
and back in the day, I was just like, who's this Ariana they're talking about? Ian and Eve go to the hospital to see Ariana.
Speaking of.
And she's gone. I guess Ian wasn't aware that she was let go. Victor tells them that she's gone and that she's in the witness protection program that they had set up. And Ian seems a little bit sad, and I wasn't mad at him about it because like they went through a lot together, even though we didn't like it.
In a short time.
So they had a bond, and of course, he's probably just sad he didn't get to say goodbye, like a proper goodbye.
Yeah.
And I like that Eve wasn't like jealous about it. They hugged, and he was like sad but relieved, and they hugged, and you kind of see it in Eve's like face that she was just like, she wasn't like jealous. She was just kind of like comforting him, and it was nice. Yeah. I like to see nice coupley, non-melodramatic crap.
Yeah. And if you've been paying attention to the credits, the actress who plays Ariana is officially off the show, so this may be the last time we mention Ariana.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I did. So I had forgotten to keep checking the opening credits until like the Friday episode to see if Jack was still missing, and he is still missing.
He's still missing.
Yeah. I was like, oh, I should probably pay attention to that just to see if anybody slipped up. Livy is so angry that she wants to hurt Zach. And Allison tries to console her, but she storms out. She feels like she's being watched, and she screams to leave her alone. And Allison comes rushing out and holds her, comforts her.
Mm-hmm.
Jamal goes to see a guy named Billy who's in a wheelchair. Apparently, he must have gotten hurt with dealing with Zach, and Jamal wants him to go to the police and tell him basically about all of Zach's like misdeeds, wrongdoings, whatever, so that he could get Zach basically, I guess, arrested for Jack's death.
I like that the names sound the same, and we haven't slipped up yet.
Oh yeah, huh? I never thought of that. But Zach has beat him to it. He's already at Billy's, and Billy's like, I'm not getting involved in this.
And he wheels into the bedroom or whatever other room he's in, and you never see him again.
This reminded me of, I don't know why, it's not even the same like circumstances, but were you watching Days when Brandon Walker first came on?
Yes, I think so.
Remember when he like hated Abe? And there was a guy that was in a wheelchair that apparently Abe accidentally shot when he was like a kid, or there was like a ricochet or whatever. And he was trying to like get this kid to basically testify that Abe shot him on purpose or something. I don't really remember the details. I just remember he hated Abe, and he was trying to get this guy, I don't remember his name, but Abe accidentally shot him. And then they kind of like replicated with that, with Roman accidentally shooting Brady. And then Brady was kind of paralyzed for a little bit. That's what it reminded me of. Sorry for that tangent.
No, I remember when Brady got shot. I think it was Brady got shot, and like Roman and Brady were like fighting like all over town. I guess it would be Town Square at the time. That might have been Salem Place. I don't know, but
Yeah, Salem Place. Mm-hmm.
Salem Place. Yeah.
Yeah, because that was when he like hated Marlena.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Marlena.
He would like instigate saying like Roman still wants to like with John, like Roman still wants to sleep with your wife. Chris ends up coming to the recovery room and he actually raises a toast to Ian and Eve. Thought that was sweet. Livy has a switchblade. She's ready to cut
Livy's got a
somebody.
knife.
And she goes to the biker bar to get Zach to come outside as she holds the switchblade. Like she's ready to stab him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, unfortunately, this is the point in the week where there's an episode missing, and I didn't do a deep dive to find it, but we missed it. Apparently, Caleb must have intervened on Livy and Zach, which I remember the scene because I remember Zach getting beat up.
Mm-hmm.
There's a noise. Well, basically, Zach is trying to like throw himself on Livy. We've seen pieces of this in the previews and in the promo.
Yeah.
And there's a noise that distracts him, and Livy manages to like get away. And then Caleb has his way with Zach.
We don't know how he has his way with him. We'll find out soon. Not this week, though. We'll find out soon.
Victor went fishing with his friend who's a judge. And something happened in the woods, and the judge is like saying he's like really cold, which is the opposite of Jack, because Jack said he was hot, or everybody said he was running warm. Mm-hmm. So he's really cold, and he's just like screaming, and like Kevin's like, we need to sedate him. Kevin questions Victor, and he says there's something weird going on in those woods, and all of a sudden everybody knows about these woods and how weird it is. Don't go in the woods. Frank rolls Zach's dead body into the hospital, and Sam is still around because she was trying to find Jack. Mm-hmm. And she basically tells Chris that Allison and Jamal killed Jack. And basically blames them for also killing Zach. Livy is laying on the beachy part by the water, and she feels like she's being watched again. Mm-hmm. He's Caleb. She asks him who he is, and he says he's her future. And I got a little like, I was like, oh, that would work on me. I was like, oh, really? You're her future? I mean, granted, she's mourning, so maybe she's not as receptive to that, but I was like, fine. She asks him to stop looking at her like that. I would be like, stop. Stop. Oh, stop. And he promises to take away all her pain. Allison and Jamal find Livy. Well, early on the episode, they were at the police station. And because the episode was missing, I don't really know how they got there. Refresh my memory, why were they there? Was Jamal going to confess, or were they trying to like blame Zach?
I think they were there to blame Zach. Let me see if I can pull up the soap opera central.
I did clock the name of the other officer that's like Garcia's partner, Andy.
Andy! Yes, I remember him.
I heard them call him Andy, and I was like, oh, okay. And I remember you saying Jamal is connected to somebody from General Hospital.
Dara.
Okay, they said that. So and I was trying to remember. I was like, is he a ward? I was like, is Justice? Because they said that my cousin's the DA. I was like, is it Justice?
No, so it's Dara. It's Dara.
It's Dara? Okay.
Dara Jensen. how do I
But
find it? Hold on. Um,
but
see,
I
it's
guess
more difficult on a
Jamal,
phone than on a computer.
Jamal and Allison basically go and they find Livy by the water, and they're like, "What's wrong with you? You're acting weird." Oh, I guess at the police station they found out that Zach was dead.
Yeah.
So they know, but Livy doesn't know. Because Livy pretty much is the last person, less human, to see Zach alive. She tells them that she was with the guy that's been stalking her pretty much. She doesn't say stalking, but that's what he's been doing. And
Basically, yep.
she says his name is Caleb. And they tell her that Zach is dead, and she doesn't really have a reaction. She's just like, good. He deserves it.
Yep.
So now Jamal and Allison kind of are suspicious that Livy did something. And she basically explains what we didn't get to see from the missing episode, that she went to see Zach. He forced himself on her. They heard a noise. She said she got one good kick in or punch in, and she ended up getting away. She says she's not sure if the guy Caleb is still around, and Jamal goes like walking in the woods alone, which he should have learned from Zach. Not Zach. See, I did it. I finally messed up. From Jax.
It jinxed you.
From Jack going off on his own and ending up like unconscious. He didn't look very hard because Caleb was right there. You could see Jamal through the leaves. I was like, can Caleb make himself invisible?
I have no idea, honestly, if he can make himself invisible. I actually forgot what his powers were.
I feel like he could do everything. He could hypnotize you.
Anything he can put his mind to.
So I guess, yeah, Caleb goes back to his basement. And he finds an old portrait of his original Olivia, and it looks just like Livy. And we got to see Michael. I was really happy. I was like, oh, I miss Michael.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got a little split screen of Michael and Caleb both played by Michael Easton. And Michael, the character, not Michael Easton, says that Olivia is gone, and he's like, I found a new one. So you were gonna say something?
I was like, I can't seem to find the previews. Oh well.
Okay.
We'll just leave that out. It's difficult scrolling through Soap Central on the phone. It's like too many ads and stuff. So
yeah,
you'll easily find it on the computer. But
yeah. So Livy's talking to Jack before they leave, and she says she's not going to come to the water anymore because it was their place and it's too hard, and she'll love him forever. And then somebody approaches her, and when she turns around, it's Jack, looking a little pale.
Jack! And then the preview, she's like, are you real? Are you real? And she touches his face. Oh, no. Oh.
And I'm like, I guess I'll be back in the opening credits on Monday.
I'll be back in the opening credits on Monday.
He had PTO.
Paid time off.
Also, a little tidbit. Andy puts an APB out on Jamal, Allison, and Livy. Because talking to Sam, Chris now thinks that they're responsible for his brother's murder. So he calls the police and says he wants to report a double homicide. I'm like, that's extreme and misleading. Like, you don't have any proof.
Nope, no proof at all.
Um, oh, I laughed because I guess the judge was choking Kevin at one point, and Lucy hit him with a bedpan.
Bedpan, yep. Bop.
So later on, she's talking to Victor, and she's like, "I'm sorry, I hit your friend with a bedpan."
And then I thought it was interesting that Victor came from the recovery room and the hospital. I'm guessing the recovery room and the hospital are within like a good short distance.
Yeah,
And
it's
then he
probably
goes
like
back
across
to
the
the
street.
recovery room.
I never watched Grey's Anatomy too regularly, but didn't they all used to like go to a bar like across the street or near the hospital after their shift?
I'm so sure they did.
Yeah.
I know Grey's Anatomy rips off from Port Charles, especially with Miranda. No,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think
Miranda.
that's
Yeah,
like a thing.
Miranda was Debbie Morgan. No, so Ellen Burgess was Debbie Morgan's character, and then there was what's her name, Miranda, the one played by Shonda, not Shonda Rhimes. What's her name? I can't. Shonda Wilson.
I don't know who that is. The name
Yeah,
sounds familiar.
yeah. So literally, if you see the first episode, because I seen the first episode of Grey's Anatomy, I'm like, she reminds me of Ellen Burgess.
Oh, Shonda Wilson. Okay, I know who it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember she reminds me of Ellen Burgess a lot. Like,
Okay.
if you see in the beginning of Port Charles, which was in 1997, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking about the movie. I'm not talking about the 2-hour movie. I'm talking about the first episode, like the first week.
Okay.
Debbie Morgan appears in the first week, and I think it's because like she might have been wrapping up at the city, and when they were doing the movie. But I think there still might have been enough time where she could have done the movie. I don't know. But the way that it was placed, the way that the Port Charles movie was placed was like the night before they started their first.
Yeah, it was like a Sunday night movie. It was the movie basically is the length of like a week's worth of episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched the first couple of weeks. I don't remember Debbie Morgan though. It's been years. So
she would have appeared. I know she appeared the first week because her first scenes were with Karen and Joe.
She's been on everything.
Yeah, she did that. She needs to come back to daytime. Not in YNR though, unless they revamp. Well, no, because they brought back the original actress to play. Well, it's Yolanda, but they call her Harmony now. But Joe Harmony. Stupid decision.
Yeah, I'm excited to keep watching. I think we're next week they're gonna have the Nurses Ball episodes.
Yes.
Which is cool. I think we're gonna try and cover the GH side of that also. So that'll be fun to see the flip side of it, the non-supernatural side of it.
Yeah.
And how they managed to merge it. You think it was like a Dallas thing where they're like, okay, we can't merge, we can't do the Nurses.
I heard that's what eventually happens. Gusa was like, "This is too hard. I can't do this." They're like, I'll just bring Lucy and Kevin over for Lila's funeral, and that's it.
So 2001 was the last Nurses Ball until the 50th anniversary, right?
I believe so.
Was it because Jill Farren Phelps took over after that? Like 2001, 2002?
You know what? I believe so. I believe that was what happened.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I believe that's what happened. Like Jill Farren Phelps came in and was like, she's like, I'm not doing this.
And she started killing everybody off and
started killing everybody off
for 10 years.
Yeah, but at least Guza's writing well. Okay, so I have said previously that Jill Farren Phelps's run was not as bad as like say other like Frankie on Another World. But I attribute that to Guza. That is Guza. That's all Guza. Is it Guza? Yeah, Guza. I was gonna say, I was like, wait, is it Guza or is it Pratt? Because I know Guza and Pratt were on GH at one point.
They worked together a lot. I feel like they were on Melrose Place together.
Yeah.
I also think maybe they did a little bit of Sunset Beach together.
They did with Josh Griffith.
Yeah, I don't know if they had like a falling out, like because you know how Frank Valentini and Ron Carlivati, they kind of came hand in hand, like with One Life to Live, and then they went to GH together, and then they kind of had a little falling out. I wonder if it was like that, where they just kind of like were not business
So
partners, but
this
they came as like
wraps
a package.
yeah, this wraps into Tyler Christopher, God rest his soul. There was a series that one of them, I think it was Pratt, wanted to do called Secrets in a Small Town.
Hmm.
That never got picked up.
Okay.
But a lot of that, and this I'm going off of what Jillian Bowe said. A lot of that had to do with their falling out.
Oh, okay.
So they wanted Tyler Christopher for the series, and they were like, "No, I wanted him on GH," and then
Mm.
it just turned into a whole thing, and then they had a falling out.
Is that when he left and we had the other Steven Martinez or whatever his name is now as
Um,
Nicholas?
basically changing his name for reasons.
Or Colton Scott, whatever his name.
Oh my gosh! So I think that was around that point, yeah.
Okay.
But I remember when when Colton Scott went on Guiding Light and was like, "I want to change my name because I want." He came up with some BS reason for that. I'm like,
So
okay,
he went to Guiding Light after GH.
I believe so because he played Tony for a little bit. Danny's brother.
Jordi Villasuso's character, like he was a recap.
Yeah, so Jordi Villasuso left.
Okay.
Yeah, he left. And then that was when Colton Scott, Steven Martinez came in.
Okay. Yeah, I watched because like that was back when I was really into the Last Blast on Days, so I was like kind of like sampling other teen scenes on other shows.
Mm-hmm.
So like The Glow by Jabot Kids on YNR, and I really fell in love with like
Yes.
JP and Colleen. And then I like was like sampling Guiding Light, and I remember like Tony and like Michelle and Danny and like that little group. I think Mara. I think Lindsay McKean
Mara,
as
Lindsay
Mara.
McKeon
Yeah.
from Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
Well, the new class, not the original, of
Yeah.
course.
And One Tree Hill.
Yeah, One Tree. I forgot she was on One Tree Hill. Wow.
Yeah. And then I don't know why I just couldn't get into like any of the teen scenes on like on ABC.
Were there teen scene? I mean, all my children, I feel like tried a lot of times, and they couldn't really get a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Unless like they were able to, like Bianca, obviously they did an excellent job with Bianca, but like they couldn't really revolve characters around Bianca. It was basically like her own story,
Okay.
really.
Yeah.
Her coming out.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I remember when Elizabeth Hendrickson was on as Frankie, I think. Was her first
Frankie
character.
Stone. Yeah.
And then she ended up being Maggie, her sister.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because Frankie was killed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was Bianca with both of them?
She was with both of them. Not so much with Frankie, but definitely with Maggie. Maggie was one day when it blew up.
Okay.
It was bam. So Bianca and Maggie.
Yeah, I remember. I guess that was around the time like they brought Dylan on GH, and they had Georgie and Maxie and I think Brooklyn. And I
Brooklyn was on
was
there, yeah.
sort of into it, and then Kirsten Storms came, and I was kind of into it then because she was my Belle from Days. Even though I was a little bit salty that she wasn't on Days anymore.
I think we all were,
Yeah.
considering who her replacement was, and we're not talking about Martha Madison. We're talking about the 1 month deal.
The 1 month deal. But yeah, I didn't really like fall head over heels for any like teen scenes on ABC except for Poor Charles.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But did I miss anything this week that you wanted to talk about?
I know that there was. See, that's why I wanted to bring up the synopsis, because I know I remember reading that Lucy found out that Eve's pregnant, and
I was in the preview.
she told Kevin.
Yeah.
And then Lucy was on the phone with somebody, and see, I'm doing like the instead of this. Lucy was on the phone with somebody, and then she comes up to Kevin and Eve, as Eve was talking about her being pregnant, and Lucy was upset because not because Eve was pregnant, that's not the reason, because it's so close to the anniversary of Christina being, I'll just say, taken
Yeah.
back by Julie. But
Yeah.
so it affected her. And Lucy has a lot of
Baggage.
not baggage, but like especially on Poor Charles, she has a lot of like instances where she was, where she gets pregnant and she loses the baby, or it's a false positive and that sort of
Oh,
thing. I
really?
know in the very beginning of the series of Poor Charles, she was pregnant, and then like literally a few weeks in, she miscarried, unfortunately. So,
Oh, I
and I think
wondered what
there's,
happened with that.
yeah,
I think in my head, because I didn't know any better, I just made that Christina.
no, Christina was by Julie, and
Yeah. Yeah.
Julie was in jail. Oh my gosh. And I forgot to watch it this year, but I'll probably watch it today. But there was a Thanksgiving episode in 1998 where, was it 1998? Yeah, 1998, where Julie nearly poisons all the Scanlons.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And she was in jail. She was like, she was talking to Frank. She's like, I poisoned the pudding. And Frank
Huh.
calls them.
That's so interesting to me because based off of the movie, the pilot movie, like that, her being that, like that doesn't seem like the trajectory of that character.
No, but then also you got to remember that they changed writers about 4 to 6 months in.
Oh, okay.
Yep, and then they also changed. So it was the Collatons who, I think both of them or one of them recently retired from Days,
Okay.
and
Oh, right, right.
yeah, and then it was who was it? Oh my gosh,
And then it
was it?
became who? Julie Hannon Carruthers.
No, she was the EP.
She was the lead.
Um, Lynn Marie Latham.
Oh, okay.
Yep, it was Lynn Marie Latham. If you know her from Young and the Restless, she was writing for
Yeah,
Carl.
and she wrote for Knots
Not
Landing.
Landing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
And
why
then
when
it
like
was,
people hate on her like for Y&R, I'm like, but she did really good on Knots Landing.
I kind of liked her Y&R a little bit. I
Hmm.
mean, it wasn't as good as Bill Bell. I mean, no, nothing beats the King,
Yeah.
but and
I
then
think
a lot of Maria's stuff was like, I liked it, but then I didn't like it.
yeah.
And I wonder how much of that was like other writers coming in and being a co-head and stuff like that.
Hmm. Yeah, I've heard that like she took credit for things that weren't really her.
Mhm.
But oh, so there were a few little things. Ian and Eve went to Jake's
Mhm.
and somehow Eve got stuck in a conga line.
I was like, what the hell? Everybody's like, come on, Eve. Well, they didn't know her name, but like they were like, come on,
Yeah.
you know, the Congo line, yay!
And they did
So,
that trope, well, TV trope thing where somebody's shouting and then the music stops and the whole place hears because Ian proposed to her.
mhm.
And as he was screaming, "Will you marry me?" or what? That's not really how he worded it, but "Will you be my wife?" Whatever. The music stopped, so the whole room heard. So that everybody was waiting with bated breath for her answer. And she says, "Of course, I'll marry you." And then I kind of
Oh
was like waiting because it felt like music was about to start playing, and I was like, "Is it going to be a pop song, like a top 40, or is it just like a transitional music thing?" And it was just
no,
like,
it's a soap
more,
net
yeah.
airing.
Um, there was another thing. Oh, when Chris was arguing with Kevin over blaming Livy, Jack, and not Livy, Jack, Livy, Allison, and Jamal for possibly killing Jack.
Zach,
Um,
well, and Zach.
he said something like, Livy, and he said something like, I also know her mother, maybe it runs in the family or something like that.
Oh, he always does. He always
Yeah,
goes for that low blow with the
yeah.
mental health stuff. Oh,
so we had
Chris.
so we had a Rachel reference without her actually saying her name.
Mhm.
Shout out Kimberlyn Brown. Um, yeah, I think that was it. Those are the two moments I forgot to mention.
Yeah, and then I noticed that like Chris was in the background during the Ariana kind of send off thing when
And you
they were
saw
hugging.
Ian and Eve hugging, and he was like gonna walk the other way, but then they walked away, so he kind of stayed. He was like, um, I'm kind of sick of Sam. I hope she dies. I don't
Oh
hate her
yeah,
as much as
yeah.
I hated Ariana, but like she's
Of
annoying.
course, my mind goes to Kelly Monaco's character.
Oh, because of Sam.
Because of Sam, I'm like, why are you sick of Sam? I mean, yeah, they don't give her anything, but I want her to have something.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, wait a minute, Sam, let her slut. Okay.
Um, with the nurses ball coming up, I feel like that means we're gonna see a little bit more Gabby next week.
Mm-hmm.
I remember correctly.
That's what I remember too. I remember the whole Gabby
Performance.
trajectory performance. Yep.
But yeah, I think that's all I have for this week.
Yeah, that's all I have too.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us for another episode covering Port Charles Tainted Love. As always, you can find us on all the socials at Queers and Soaps. And until next week, have a great day. Bye.
Bye.